Tonight, on A Week in League, we'll be talking about the LEC group stage, LS defends the LCS, the LCK referee update, and so much more right after the intro. Welcome to A Week in League, where we cover League of Legends esports all around the globe from all 4 major regions. I'm your host Slomar, and let's just get right into the news. As usual, timestamps and links will be in the description, and while you're down there, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Thanks. Week 4 of the LPL is exactly what you'd expect. Most of the top dogs like IG, TES, and EDG won their games. But here's the twist. JDG actually lost their first series this year, and it was against WBG. And speaking of the series, time for Game of the Week. And this week, it's WBG versus JDG. We've been saying this all split, but WBG is projected to be one of the top 5 teams in the LPL this year. And this win against JDG may be what they needed to prove they're a top 5 team. The series goes all the way to 3 games, and we even get some interesting top lane picks with 369 pulling out the Gragas and Nishai pulling out Sion. Here's a top lane play from Game 2 by 369. Roll the clip.
Game lyric, and it's thanks to good old Blue Man in the mid lane.
Okay. Shy.
Oh, clean. Flashes back out though, hang on. Turret shot, only one of them. As 369 is trying to wait it out. He's got flash available. You better believe he wants to do it. There he goes. Into melee range. The Shy still alive. 369 now waiting for him to come out. Do a barrel roll, man. But hang on, the healing's there as well. You're right. Is it enough? It is. 369 part 2, man. This Gragas.
The series is definitely worth a watch in my opinion. Go check it out. Let's take a look at the best players from week 4. WBG were 3 out of the top 5 players this week, and their mid laner Jiaohu also gets the player of the week. It really seems like WBG is finally clicking together, and I'm personally hoping that this team can have a deep playoff run this year. IG's YSKM continues to lead the KDA and KP charts, winning yet another Rookie of the Week award for week 4. I can't stop talking about how excited I am to watch this guy. Even when he makes mistakes or chokes, he's still fun to watch. Personally, he reminds me of a young Khan, way back in his day, but a little better. Since not much else happened in the LPL this week, let's take a look at the standings. TES, IG, and JDG are on top. And I suspect while LNG is on top for now, I don't have a lot of hope that they're going to stay in the top 5 for the rest of the split. Week 4 in the LCK wraps up, and while nothing was too crazy this last week, 2 series stand out. The first one is KT versus Gen G. Gen G losing only their 2nd series of the year to KT. And I know while this wasn't really an upset, Gen G were expected to win. The 2nd series, you hear that? Time for Game of the Week. And this week, it's T1 versus DRX. This game was very clean from T1 and arguably not even that close for DRX. However, in Game 2 in particular, T1 brings out a poke comp in 2023. Yes, I know Nidalee's seen some play here and there, but it was always in kind of niche cases. In this game, T1 runs an all-out poke comp with Varus Caitlyn bot, Azir mid, and Nidalee as their jungler. Let me show you just how deadly this combo was. Roll the clip.
That he had his opportunity to play it, the T1 Baron at 20 minutes and 39 seconds. Caitlyn trap set up here. Chance of corruption. That's another pick.
Yeah, I highly recommend you watch this game. It was a lot of fun. This may be even an indication that poke comps are viable at the highest level. This could be also a byproduct of the double 80 carries in the bot lane, since you don't have to rely on running a Ziggs mid or something like that. But personally, I can't wait to see more poke comps around the world. Now let's take a look at the LCK standings. T1 and Gen G are still on top, with Liv Sandbox and KT Rolster not far behind. The 2nd round robin in the LCK starts this coming week, and things are gonna get heated up. As we ramp up for playoffs, make sure you stay tuned for our weekly coverage. Now onto the LEC. The winter group stage kicks off in the LEC, and this means we get best of 3 series between the qualifying teams. The games were honestly bangers all around, and the format is still excellent in my opinion. On one side of the bracket, Vitality and Koi both won their series. However, on Monday, Koi got the best of Vitality, winning 2-0. This means that Koi has secured a playoff spot. On the other side of the bracket, however, Mad Lions and G2 won the first series, but ultimately, G2 won against Mad Lions on Monday 2-0. That also means that G2 is qualified for playoffs. It's really hard to pick a game of the week from the LEC this week, as each one of these series has its own good moments. So maybe for this week, on the LEC Game of the Week, watch whichever team you care about. Personally, I was invested in the Vitality vs Koi series, and that was a banger. Next week, in the LEC, is the lower bracket group stage matches. This will be the last chance to qualify for playoffs. Let me know in the comments below which teams you think will qualify for playoffs this split. And make sure you tune in next week for our coverage. Week 3 of the LCS has wrapped up, and let's see here. Everything still kind of looks the same. FlyQuest is still undefeated. We still have a 3-way tie in second place, so I guess not much has changed, huh? Even Prince got the player of the week again this week. Groundhog Day in the LCS? And you know what time it is? Time for Game of the Week. And this week, it's GG versus IMT. And this wasn't so much for the gameplay or the game at all, but it was more for the hilarious cast by Azael and Rafa. If you want to watch a caster learn how to use the tools on the job, that's the game for you. Anyways, this week there wasn't much to talk about in the LCS. However, next week is not only the end of the first round robin, but it's also a super week. This means we get an extra day of broadcast, and boy, you know I love me an extra day of broadcast and some extra games. Make sure you tune in next week for our coverage. Now onto the news. Welcome to In Other News, a segment where we discuss news that may or may not be related to LOL Esports. This week's headline is, last week we talked about the LCK referee error that happened during the Fredit Brion game. To summarize, Brion were informed of the wrong side before going on stage, effectively prepping for blue side while they were actually given red side. There has been an update on this situation, and the LCK has even put out a statement. Quote, until now, side selections were handled by one ref. Now 2 refs will be in charge of this task. In addition, there will be a spreadsheet available to each team and the refs, outlining all the side selections. Kespa also announced a 10-game suspension for 2 assistant refs. If you want to read the full statement, link is always in description. I don't know how you feel about this, but I think it's good news all around. In other news, last week we also talked about the LCS controversy during a segment. Since then, LeTigress has announced that she will be taking a mental health break from the LCS. I'm still very confused at all the backlash that she's personally receiving when this segment was greenlit by the LCS, you know, but I'm hoping we can see LeTigress back on the broadcast soon. In other news, the Prime Gaming capsules for League of Legends seem to have ended. Well, at least for now. I'm sure if you play League or familiar with Twitch Prime, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. It seems like there's no capsule for February. Riot dev Medler commented on Reddit saying, the original partnership was just for 2022, and the studios are figuring out potential options for the future. In the long term, we're still figuring out whether something like this is possible, and if so, what it might look like, Medler said. I personally hope they bring these back because these capsules were pretty hype. In other news, Riot announces The Mage Seeker, an upcoming Riot Forge game that puts you in Sylas' shoes. These Riot Forge games are often really fun and super cool. Stay on the lookout for those. This one in particular is going to be releasing sometime in the spring of 2023. In other Riot minigame news, Song of Nunu, a League of Legends story, now has a release date-ish. If you don't know, this was supposed to come out back in March of 2022, however, it's been delayed since. It is now scheduled to be coming out in the fall of 2023, so stay tuned for that. In other news, LS defends the LCS. LS has been famously a Western League of Legends hater for lack of a better word. However, LS was on Hotline League this last week, and he was defending the LCS. He said, I think the stage looks really nice and it helps get an immersive watching experience. LS added, I was a really big fan of the segments they did, like the one with QT Cinderella. You can watch the full Hotline League clip and the link will be in description below. In other news, the MSI location and tickets have been announced, with the tickets going on sale February 23rd. It also seems like the lyrics to the MSI anthem were teased in one of the posts. The event kicks off in London on May 2nd, so the song will probably be revealed closer to that date. In other news, XL begin a major coaching staff reset after abysmal season finish in the winter 2023 split. The team finished the regular split with a single win. Ouch. That's tough. The team is reportedly parting ways with head coach Youngbuck and assistant coach Nelson. We'll have to see how the changes can affect the team moving into the spring split. In other news, Rekkles was supposedly Fnatic's 5th or 6th choice as the AD carry in the LEC offseason. After Fnatic failed to qualify for the LEC Winter Split group stage, many League of Legends fans have been questioning the team's strategy and roster building. Adding to the conversation, LFL manager revealed that Rekkles wasn't even Fnatic's first choice. Quote, Rekkles was 5th or 6th on the list, only nobody wanted to play as a support. Could he be referring to Rux? Who knows, but the spicy Rekkles drama keeps on coming, baby. In other news, this is very different than our usual segments, but I wanted to talk about one of the recent LCS segments, Dash Made Me. Unfortunately, that turned out to be way too long and I can't include it in here. So if you want to watch me react to that video, the video should be coming out tomorrow and will be around here somewhere. If you do end up watching it, let me know how you feel about this new format. And that's the end of our show for this week. I can't say this enough, but thank you so much for all the continued support. If you're enjoying the show, please consider subscribing. Have a good night and good luck in solo queue.